Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wall of Power TV 6th season. I'm your host, Paul Metsa. I couldn't have found two greater guests to feature tonight on the show. They're both radio legends in the Twin Cities. You know their names. I doubt to a large degree if you've ever seen their faces. We are taping this show at Grumpy's Northeast at 22nd and 4th in my neighborhood, greatest bar in America.
So Jesse calls me at, because I used to work with him at KSTP, he calls me at 6 in the afternoon, and he says, Mischke, just leaving Letterman, you're not going to believe it. He introduces me, he whispers in my ear, what's with this Mischke guy?
Yeah.
And Letterman, as he sits down, you hear him move in front of the microphone. You know, I listen on the internet. Well, that wasn't good. I don't know if you guys know about my brain, but that's not good. It is not good to go into the show thinking Letterman is tuning in on the internet.
All right, go.
I have a certain weakness
Right.
that can lead to what we call in the business clinical depression. And
I've heard of it.
The stress of David Letterman listening does not help. It was lovely, it was flattering, but it did not help. For the record, I think I took a week off work to recover psychologically and get back to doing what I love to do, which is just doing radio and the hell with the rest of the world.
Pretty badass that David Letterman asks, what's up with this Mischke guy?
Or you could look at it this way. I've listened, I don't get it. What's up with this Mischke guy? He's not saying that Mischke guy. Boy, doesn't he kill it every night? He didn't say that. He said, what's up with this Mischke guy?
That's fair.
Where's the exclamation?
But earlier on, when I described your show, it was interesting and engaging, but I also used the word surreal. I'm not saying you're for everybody.
I wasn't. I was borderline
Well,
of
you're
cult
still
club.
not. No, you're still not.
Even this show is losing a lot of people right now.
That being said, well, there's a lot of radio talent in this town. Minnesota's a weird place to do
Yeah,
radio.
it is. Yeah, it is.
It's not like other places. Like, if you're in Chicago, you're like, hey, there's music for the Pumpkins. Coming up, we got the Peppers and the blah, blah. But you can get away with that, and you can make a real living doing it. But especially what you did. So here's the weird thing about me entering into the podcast world. You're a talk guy.
Yeah.
You're clever. You're smart. The best part is,
And people love him.
but he knows how to make it weird.
Stuart Smalley.
He knows how to make it weird, and people still love him, which is not. The podcast market is glutted.
Yeah.
Radio's glutted. Media's glutted. There are so many vectors to market right now that it's glutted. If you can't be interesting, if you can't find a new way to present information and make it a destination, it's over. You're not going to get sponsors. You're not going to have any listeners. This weird, brilliant Gandalf of a look, and then not because you're old. I'm older than you.
You're 7 years younger, brother.
Well, how come you look so much better?
It's the lighting.
It's the lighting. But you have to. You have to find a way. Now more than ever, and you have to find a way to make what you do a destination.
Yeah, you're right.
And you always did that, although I felt it was a little niche, and I felt it
was
a little
niche.
cultish.
Yeah.
But anybody who spent the time, listened to a few broadcasts, you have to invest a little bit. Nobody's nobody's flipping brilliant out of the gate.
Brian, can I jump in here for a minute?
Please.
I'm having so much fun. You guys are imparting so much cool information. We're gonna take a little pause on Wall of Power TV. I'm the host, Paul Metsa.
Yeah, you are.
We were talking about drinking the Kool-Aid. We're at Grumpy's Northeast, the greatest bar in America.
Is there Kool-Aid here?
And just rap about all the groovy things that go on in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We'll be back after these messages.
There's always something going on at Grumpy's. For happy hour on Monday, it's half-price beer and wine. Killer prices on local taps all day Saturday and bottles of wine at half price every Sunday. At night, the turntables at Grumpy's stay busy with the Minnesota Music Listening Party on Monday and Vino Vinyl on Thursday night. Trailer Park Trivia packs the house on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And don't miss T-Bone Bingo on Sunday nights. They have it all. Every night of the week, it's Grumpy's Northeast.
And we're just really happy to be able to launch that out there in the public knowledge, because we also have we have Metsa America, which is the channel that is on YouTube.
Wait a minute. Stop right there. Metsa America?
Well, guess who came up with that name? But
Pretty great. Are we talking about make Mets America great again? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
What the heck?
Actually, we want to get. Let's get that.
that could be the theme of
Yeah.
the 6th season.
I
He'll
demand
use
4%.
it. They didn't know
I
about
demand
it.
4%.
No,
I'm not being greedy. 4% is an exceptionally reasonable rate.
Oh, we're dragging you out of the gutter here to bring you
Once,
back.
dragging me out of the gutter. That's strong, but also somewhat true.
And then it'll go.
I'm not going to get over Metsa America
Neither am
anytime
I.
soon.
And I couldn't really stop myself. I just said, let's make Mets America great again. And I don't really even want 4%. I just want to see it. I want to see one hat that has it on it, and I'll be fine.
Welcome back to the last segment on Wall of Power TV. I'm your host, Paul Metsa. Our debut show, taping at Pat Dwyer's Grumpy's Northeast Bar, 22nd and 4th, with two of the greatest radio cats that have ever came through the Minnesota airwaves, Brian Oake and Tom Mischke. And I'd like to remind you, you can find almost all of our shows on our YouTube channel at Mets America.
Let's make Mets America great again. Anything but what we're doing right now. We are in the upside down. This is a diarrhea planet. I hate it. If you decide to become the benevolent dictator, I can live with that, Paul. I can live with that.
Well, I did.
It couldn't be worse.
I did come in second place last year at the Northeast, Mr. Northeast pageant.
So that banner up there is not yours. I'm so sorry.
It was totally
Second
flagged.
place, though, man. Look, second place. There were a lot of people who didn't even try. All right.
So let's talk a little bit about this with Brian Oake and Tom Mischke. You guys have been through a few jobs in the radio world. It's not like you do your 40 years and get your gold watch. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that.
I was actually thrilled. My wife wasn't, but I was when I got fired from KSTP, because until you get fired in radio, you're not a radio guy.
Right.
That's not the way it is if you're a surface pollution control engineer at 3M. But in radio,
Then you're screwed.
That is the case. And
Was
when
that the first time you were fired in radio?
Yeah. 17 years in. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I got fired, my world caved in, and WCCO called, and I thought, wow, driving to downtown Minneapolis? Big time Minneapolis? Pulling in next to that, what is the old court bar, I don't know what it's called now, walking upstairs to where Cannon used to go. And so the 4 years I had there were the 4 years that told me now I'm a radio guy. So Brian's had that. You've been a radio guy because you've done the WKRP in Cincinnati thing.
Here's the deal, but not moving town
Not
to town.
moving town to town, right.
I've always
Up and
been
down
in
the
this market.
dial, though.
But my first 3 years worked at Rev till 97, Rev 105. Cool indie alt station as opposed to the giant juggernaut of the Edge. I got fired and I'm like, well crap, I wasn't even qualified for that job. I'll never work in radio again. That was my 3-year dream. Then ABC bought that and I did about a month on X105 and I was playing the Scorpions and and I actually love the Scorpions, so that was the wrong analogy.
Right.
But I mean like a lot of terrible pop metal. And then all of a sudden it flipped to the Edge, or not the Edge, Zone 105, and I worked there for 4 years. But that was where I started doing my Sunday evening show, which Sunday evening, they will let you play fart noises for an hour.
Right.
They do not give a crap about what's on Sunday nights.
Right.
There's nothing saleable there. So I said, can I do a show called Freedom Rock? Which was both the play on the old commercial with the records, but also there was a Frank Black song, and I love the Pixies, called Freedom Rock. And for 17 years I did that both at Zone and at Cities, and then got sort of a dream job at a station that, public memory.
Right. station that shall remain homeless.
That it will be. It will remain nameless. And you can feel free to keep that in. That being said, because there's nothing legal about flipping somebody the bird.
Not on my TV show.
I like that about you, Metsa. That being said, so I've been fired 3 times, not ever, well, okay, until recently. Not ever for anything I did, but because the format changed, or the thing changed. Radio is a tumultuous business, but as we talked about before, to be able to live in the town you love, to be able to stay in the place that you're from, to be able to, Minnesotans are extremely provincial. You know, it's like when you watch the news, my wife who's from Chicago, even still, 25 years later, she's like, you guys are so small town. I'm like, what do you mean? And then all of a sudden I'll be like, a major typhoon about to hit Japan, but first, a Minnesota man teaches his dog how to ski. Like, we love our own, which I'm not actually that embarrassed about it. It's okay to be provincial and love what you do. So radio is tumultuous. That being said, there's nothing else I want to do, but we live in this weird divergent age where there are these all new vectors to market. And it's not about commercialism to me. I don't think you or I are super focused on, like, I'm going to be rich. You just want to do what you do. It's the only thing that gets you up in the morning. It's the only thing that makes you feel awake. Me too.
Create.
Yes, and so that's why when you reached out for me to do a podcast with you, I was super excited. It's why I actually signed off on a podcast. I'm like, I've done radio for 26 years. Like, a podcast? Is that on the internet? What do I do?
Right.
I have a very steep learning curve right in front of me, which is why I'll probably be sleeping on your porch before the end of the year.
So talk about the podcast you guys are doing.
The beauty of the podcast and what I love about it is John Haidt, formerly of KSTP, and me sit around talking about music, but not talking about music in a way you might hear people talk about it where they say, I love this song, oh I love this song, oh I love this band, oh I love this band. It's the intersection of music and life. What I'm intrigued by with music is using it as a lens to look at life. Music and song is a wonderful way to look at who we are, what life is.
Who we knew.
Everything. It's a wonderful lens to look at existence, and I love it because it has passion and emotion and insight and creativity and brilliance and thought, and I can't say enough about how much I love a 3-minute piece that is the equivalent of a novel or a short story or a movie that gives you a little window into what it is to be a human being, and that's what we talk about.
So your podcast together that you started a little less than 2 weeks ago, what's the very first song you guys played?
You know, I will tell you this. The first thing I asked these guys on show number 1 is, I'm intrigued by songs that are the equivalent of a short story or a novel.
Right.
Forget the music. After you've heard the song, the story told, you sit with for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a year later you're thinking about it.
Or your entire life.
Or your entire life. And somebody was able to do that with a few lines. What did Merle Haggard say? Give me 8 lines.
Right.
8 lines.
What did Stevie Wonder say? Helen Reddy, who nobody even remembers anymore. We talked about Angie Baby for 40 minutes because it's this weird Twilight Zone thing.
Song.
But what I love, the reason I decided that Mischke, being like, why is Mischke texting? Am I being punked right now? Like, why is he inviting me? The reason I love doing what we do and talking about music and finding that intersection of life and music is there's not a right answer.
Right, there's not.
But there's not a person who hasn't been punched through the heart or the brain or the gut by a song. And so if you can express that, if you can talk about, like, okay, maybe they don't give a hoot anything. Maybe they don't care at all about that song. I'm sorry, I can't stop myself now. You keep playing me. That being said, even if you don't care about that song, the reason that I was most excited, despite being contacted by Gandalf, was that we get to talk about music in the sense that's the most important to me. And I think that's why you reached out to me, is like, we see it from the same way. Like, we might not agree on everything, but we're not going to, like, genuinely fight about it, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not a very good fighter. Brittle, bird-like bones. Like, I'm not really good at that, but talk about music and how it affects your life.
Mischke, if they go to, it's like TomMischke.com, they find your podcast.
It's For the Sake of the Songs, and I know it's a long name, but that is what it's all about. ForTheSakeOfTheSongs.com, and it's Brian, me, and John Haidt, who is not here, but is a writer for Vintage Guitar Magazine, great jazz and rock guitar player,
And whip smart.
Yeah, wonderfully
He's great.
articulate about music, and so the three of us, I love it. It's like eavesdrop on us, join us, hang out with us, write us. It's fun to sit and talk about music. I could do it and nothing else the rest of my life. I could do it separate from my show, or I could do it in place of my show. The Mischke Road Show. Right now, this is the new fun thing I love.
Brian Oake, and you've got this thing with Mischke, but you're starting your own thing as well.
I am, and right now, like, this week is going to be very determined of what it's going to look like. It is very unformed, but just today started to do Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, which is, and I hate this, I asked people to give me a clever name, but I realized most clever names after 5 weeks, you're like, what a terrible decision. So I'm going with something called Oake Show. And that may change, but as of right now, at Oake Show on Twitter, OAKE Show on Twitter, because it's not a stage name, it's my real name, but at Oake Show, if you care at all, check in there and updates will be regular.
Thanks for watching and listening to Wall of Power TV and the Wall of Power Radio Hour. I couldn't have been more delighted to kick off my 6th season on Wall of Power TV with two friends of mine that have me two of the greatest radio voices in Minnesota, Tom Mischke and Brian Oake. Cheers to you guys. I want to ask you both, give me 30 seconds each. Why is radio magic?
The reason radio is magic is because it involves one sense. So we have 5 senses. But this one sense, hearing alone, can create worlds, universes, the entire cosmos for people as they lie in bed, as they drive at night in the car, as they work in their garage. And that's extraordinary that one little sense can explode in that way. That's how I look at it.
Am I supposed to follow Gandalf? Honest to God. So what he said is actually why it matters. That being said, the people who do it for a living or get an opportunity to be on it, be kind to each other. Let's make it better. These are dark, divisive times. Do better.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers. With you.
This was beautiful. Thanks for watching Wall of Power TV tonight. I couldn't be more honored than to have Brian Oake and Tom Mischke on the debut show of the 6th season of Wall of Power TV. I also want to thank my producer, Andy Watson, and the proprietor of Grumpy's Bar and
Agreed.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Dwyer. Stick around. We'll be same time next week, same station. We'll save you a seat. Bless you, people.
Perfect. I like it, Andy.
All right.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
To follow up that.
How
How dare you?
Stop. You're wired.
Stop! You're gonna blow!
What, is it going to the government? What's happening?
It's
I
a
mean,
third
like,
rail.
All right.
Yeah.
Got to end sometime.